three big questions for NBA Finals Game 3. It's been a rough 2 games in terms of scoring for Jason Tatum, shooting just 18% on 2-point attempts so far this series. Figure the Celtics will need superstar Tatum at some point to win the series. And speaking of a rough 2 games, Klay Thompson shooting just 30% so far, his 3rd worst field goal percentage through the first 2 games of any playoff series in his career. How will the Celtics handle Draymond Green and his antics, for lack of a better word? Ime Udoka left it up to his players whether or not to engage or to ignore the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Game 3 tips off tonight on ESPN. Been a rough 2 games. Well, I already mentioned that. Brian Windhorst with me live from the NBA Finals in Boston. Windy, we just went through some of the biggest questions heading into Game 3. What's the biggest question for the Celtics?
To me, I think this game and maybe the rest of this series will hinge on the Celtics' turnovers. I know that that's not as fun of a topic as Draymond Green and physicality. I do have a little secret people seem to have forgotten. The Bucks and Heat were physical with the Celtics too, okay? This is not anything new. What is an issue for the Celtics is when they hand the ball to the opposing team or put the ball on a platter for the opposing team to take. And this is what Ime Udoka came in and talked to his team about on their off day of practice, and he made a big deal of it. 15 turnovers or less, they're 13-2 in the playoffs. 16 turnovers or more, as they were in Game 2, they are 0-5. If they hit 16 turnovers tonight, I'm just going to pack up and head to the press conference room and get ready to cover a Warriors win. Let's just run the ticker right next to the score on the score bug. I'll talk to Tim Corrigan later about it. I think I'll probably win that argument. That is 33. You know, I know everyone's going to talk about Steph, and Steph had a very nice game in Game 2. They scored 107 points. 33 of them came off of Celtics turnovers. That is a totally survivable number if you're Boston. Their half-court defense could be better, but it was fine. If they hand the ball to the Warriors, they will win tonight. If they don't hand the ball to the Warriors, the Celtics will win tonight. Everything else is going to be details.
Yeah, broadly speaking, it's good to not have a lot of turnovers. You'd rather your opponent have a lot of them, but maybe it's particularly pronounced the importance of that stat in this series. Windy, Cedric Maxwell made comments recently about how Draymond would be knocked out if he played in the 1980s. Draymond, of course, responded.
I have a huge appreciation for those guys. I saw what Cedric Maxwell said. And, you know, one thing that baffles me about the 80s or the 90s or whatever you want to call when basketball was so much more physical is some of the guys that be talking weren't the guys that was punching people. You know, like they act like, you know, guys was just walking around the court like I'm hitting this guy in the nose.
Every sport, I think in every generation, there's always this mythical era where everything was harder and things just keep getting worse and worse. JJ, what's your reaction to what Draymond said?
My reaction is like, you know, the 90s specifically was a very physical era. This was sort of the height of the hand-checking era. There was still a lot of physicality and hard fouls. We saw fights, of course, the famous Miami Heat, New York Knicks fight, which we're getting to witness one of them, not the one in the Garden where Jeff Van Gundy's grabbing Alonzo Mourning. But, you know, the 80s, I think, gets a rep for being a physical era. There are certainly some hard fouls that we saw. Kurt Rambis getting clotheslined, of course, the bad boy Pistons, which I think
there were some fights.
Ushered it. Yeah, there were some fights. You know, I just spent 2 hours watching Game 6 of the 1987 NBA Finals. I can honestly say it was not a physical era of basketball. You know, and again, Draymond, like I say all the time, like we have such a great appreciation for the generations that came before us. They laid the groundwork for what the game is today, and the game continues to evolve. Players are always going to respond to the rules of their era. They're going to respond to the valued skill sets of their era, and that's what our era has done. We've responded to what is appropriate for our era.
I was born in 1973. I could tell you the night. Pat Riley used to say we used to decide who we were going to defend. Like you defended one guy. Now, the bad boy Pistons and then the Knicks under Pat Riley changed that in the 90s, as you mentioned. It became more physical. Windy, will the refs look to preemptively keep a tight grip on Game 3, do you think?
Well, I think, you know, this officiating crew is going to know that this crowd here is going to be all over every step that Draymond takes in this game. And so there's going to be a hyper awareness early on about any type of physical play. So my guess is that they will set a tone about how the game is going to be officiated in the first few minutes of the game, and then we'll move on and play basketball. I would be surprised if antics become an issue tonight. Number one, the game is too important. It's 1-1. We're fighting for whoever has the lead here. Number two, this is a very experienced officiating crew. The players in this game, particularly Draymond, are very aware of what these guys will call and not. I think we're going to move on from this physical conversation over the last 2 days and move on to straight basketball, which will play out later tonight here in the arena.
JJ, what adjustments do you think the Celtics make against Steph tonight, who was not only had the 34 in game one, but 29 big points in game two?
Yeah, look, he's been really good in the half court. The three most effective half court plays for either team in this series have been a Steph Curry pick and roll, a Steph Curry isolation, and a Steph Curry handoff. Let's start with the pick and roll. That's where I think the first adjustment can be made. They've got to bring the big up. I'm not saying it has to be an all-out blitz, but being all the way back in drop coverage has not been effective so far in this series, despite the fact that the Boston Celtics have a bunch of good perimeter defenders.
Isn't that a pick your poison kind of thing?
It is a pick your poison, because if you do end up blitzing it, or even if the big is up, which happened once in game two where he threw it back to Draymond and Draymond got the and one on Al Horford, you're essentially playing 4-on-3 in the backside. The Warriors have seen this blitz all the time with Steph Curry over the years, and so they're able to pick the defense apart. But the big at least has to show some level of resistance by being up. And I don't know what you do in isolation, because Steph Curry has been the best player in the playoffs in isolation, and he was in the 96th percentile in the regular season in isolation. He's just that good.
Yeah. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.